So what do you think makes a good base build?
There's a couple things. A good base has a full coverage peak floor. You need tons of storage space. It's gotta be cheap enough for a solo. It's gotta be strong, but it can't be too cramped. And if you can fit all of that, you might just have the perfect base.
If you came here looking for a strong, simple, and cozy Rust base design, then let me introduce you to my newest build, a sequel of the fan favorite, the Agitator. From blind spots in the peak downs to vending machine bunkers on console Rust, I've fixed everything that didn't work in the original. Now you've already had a peek at this base from the intro, but let me give you the full tour, and you can decide if this base will be your next home for the wipe. We can follow the path of these first 5 garage doors to bring us to the upstairs core, or off to the right, up to the roof. The open core style center of this design is one of its main features, and we'll tour that in just a moment, but for now, up to the peaks. And as many of you will know, there were issues with visibility in the original, so I spent a bunch of time reworking this roof floor to give you better visibility while still maintaining a great no build out wide gap peak. You also get some sweet head glitch angles for any range of fight all around your base. Now what you've all been waiting for, jumping back downstairs, the open core style loot rooms. With 16 large boxes in this section alone, you'll never run out of storage again. And to further piss off any raiders, I've added extra honeycomb to separate each of these loot rooms from the outside to avoid rocket splash. And just in case you needed a little more breathing room from your teammates, downstairs we have yet another open core style loot room with 6 boxes in the center and 2 nicely separated vending machine bunkers on either side. Your TC is tucked away in this far corner, and although this may look like a clan base, the cheap upkeep says otherwise. In my opinion, these vending machine bunkers are super underused. You don't need any blueprints to craft them, and you can open or close them for free at any point without a hammer. Each bunker houses 4 large boxes behind, and if you can pair them with an armored single door, they're an absolute tank to raid. Even if you don't finish this base today, remember the simple starter of this design, and you can build it throughout your next wipe as you progress. And since you guys crushed my last 2 like goals, I'm gonna set something a little more ambitious and go for 500 likes on this video. If we can hit that, I'd be absolutely blown away. Thanks for all the support. Now back to the base. Place these outmost double doors swinging inward to pose as a basic airlock. Then you can place your TC in this close left corner. At this point, we're just about finished the starter. You can also squeeze a furnace in here, and then you can seal everything in with a double door. You should attempt to get this double door upgraded to a metal one as soon as you have the extra frags. And as you begin to progress, do the same with your other front doors. Behind us, we'll build a shelf on the right wall. Just remember not to add any other door frames in this area, as eventually it'll be a bunker. But for now, here's some basic deployables you can place down. Now onto our first expansion. Off the left side double door, place in 6 triangle foundations. The inner 3 closest to your double door will end up being a loot room, so seal it off with walls and roof tiles. We'll add in the boxes in a later step, but for now we can remove that double door and head out to the other side. Place in the following 5 triangle foundations off of your base, and then a 6th one off to the left, poking out like this. On these 3 triangles to our left, we'll repeat the same steps we just did in the other loot room with the walls and roof tiles. Just remember to keep this side open, as it'll eventually be our second bunker, so we won't place any frames here, but instead a frame in front of it as our new front door. It's about this point in the wipe where you're going to need more box space, so let's build in a 6-box loot room right in the center. And while I place down these boxes, I'd be curious to know how many of you play modded and how many play official. Jump down to the comments and let me know. Before we continue expanding, it's important to balance out the raid cost, so let's upgrade the entire TC pod to metal. Then it's time to implement the jump up, so once you've got a furnace crafted, it's time to seal yourself in. Make sure you place this as a window frame, not a wall, and eventually it'll lead to a loop roof. Also, wooden window bars are fine for now, but try to get them swapped out to at least metal before you go offline. Obviously, glass windows are the most preferred here. And off the back side of the base, to get up to the roof, we can place in a triangle on the left side wall like this. Things are getting a little crowded down here in the core, so I'm going to swap out all the double doors for garage doors. This isn't a necessary step, but try to get this done as soon as you have the BP and the metal frags. Next, I'll remove all the unnecessary deployables from the starter, minus the 2 large boxes on the right. We'll also place down the secondary shelf, as well as 2 more large boxes in this room. Do the same for the bunker on the opposite side. Replacing all those deployables we just picked up, we can place our 3 bags in front of the 6-box loot room down here, and our new workbench in front of the furnaces. It'll be around this time in the wipe when I'm sure you've got 3 gears lying around, so we'll do the preparations to craft our vending machine and seal in this first bunker. Let's get our first vending machine placed down. Remember to take your time with these, as they can't be picked up once deployed. Firstly, make sure the vending machine is facing the right way. You should have the little window side towards you. Then, simply line up the front of the vending machine halfway through this little box in your stone foundation. You can then place in a single door frame, open your vending machine once, and you'll be able to rotate it. And just be certain that you can loot all your boxes through the vending machine. And if it all looks good, upgrade it to armored, hard side facing you. To save some time, I'll skip showing you building in the secondary bunker, but of course, upgrade all your walls on the inside to metal, and make sure you remember to flip this wall when upgrading. To stop early game top-down raids, upgrade these 3 roof pieces in your core to metal. It's time to go on to another level of the expansion. Once again, wooden frames or even embrasures are fine for now, but swap them out for windows when you get the BP. Next, let's add some important honeycomb to our main TC wall. Also, I'll lay down the following 9 square foundations for the next layer of honeycomb. I'm also going to honeycomb the triangle section we used to jump up to the roof. Now let's work on adding in a more permanent front door path. We'll start by placing down this square roof tile off to the right of our front door. These 3 triangle roof tiles are a weak point leading to our 6-box loot room below, so we'll upgrade those to metal right away. Let's build a front door coming off of this square roof piece. Just fill in the circle layout for now, and don't worry too much about the extra honeycomb. We'll add all that in later. You should, however, focus on getting this roof access completed and sealed. Eventually, I'll replace these double doors for garage doors, but for now, it doesn't affect the raid cost too much. I'm also going to fix up a few things in our second level window room, starting with adding in these wall frames. Also, if you're still using wooden window bars, upgrade all your roof pieces to metal so you avoid getting spear raided. To seal off the last spear raiding weak point, we'll add in another door on the left of this window room, and I'll also upgrade the roof tile above our TC to armored. And as I mentioned at the start, try to get these wooden window bars upgraded to glass windows as soon as possible. Note that the resources I'm going to use for the next step are in my hotbar. So before sealing, we're going to upgrade these 2 bunker walls on the outside to armored. You can immediately seal off the center square foundation with metal honeycomb like this. Then, just like the front door, place in a roof ramp in stone, and don't forget to seal it off with a wall on the side. Now head over to the other side and repeat the same step to the other bunker. Doing this step will essentially make these bunkers a 19 rocket raid from any side of the base. Seal in the backside of your base with the dropdown the same way, with another square honeycomb and 2 ramps on either side of it. Now head around the base and make sure you haven't missed any ramps or sidewalls. If you have, fill them in like this. With that complete, it's time to begin working on the loot rooms for the core. We'll start with the stronger one on the left side, tucked into the base like this. Repeat this on the other side. Then onto the more Dropbox style loot room, which has no honeycomb. Fill in the gaps with stone honeycomb. Then head around the roof and fill in the top layer of all these honeycomb boxes in stone. And lastly, next to your jump up to the roof, upgrade these 2 triangles to metal. Downstairs, starting from the drop down, spam down garage doors in all of these frames. When building in these shelf pieces, you can do the back one upgraded to stone and the front one upgraded to metal. As expected, place down 4 large boxes in each of the loot rooms, and then upgrade all the windows to metal afterwards. This will also be the time for our core upgrades, starting with the dropdown. Now, personal preference, but I like to move my workbench upstairs as I tend to live out of this area more often. It also just makes the base a little more roomy downstairs. Next, a few upgrades over by the drop down to the roof. And to prevent a top-down raid, upgrade all of these roof tiles in this circle pattern to armored. This triangle honeycomb is for our large battery. Once I get the electric furnace researched, I normally like to place them under my dropdowns. Sometimes I even replace the furnaces in the first floor for the electric ones as well. To begin the peak downs, place in the square foundation with 2 wall frames on top on all 3 following sides of the base. Place in floor triangles off of all 3 sides of the square honeycomb boxes. Then add in the wide gaps. Now it's important to note that if you use any other building skin other than default stone, you'll fall through this gap. So use the default ones for the triangle roofs, but you can feel free to customize the inside square roof piece if you like a different skin. And I also like to add in these triangle roof pieces on top of my window frames. This gives a little more protection from mountain areas and also heli takes, etc. These 2 roof pieces give some nice little angles to hold close range or long range fights. I personally like to add them as they've come in handy in my experience. Lastly, if you want an auto turret, you can place them right here, guarded by those roof pieces I originally talked about on top of your window frames. And that's the base. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.